everyone, it's Jane Mann. How are you? And I'm super excited to be here today. As always, I'm always bringing you things that I truly find valuable in my practice as a practitioner. I've been an esthetician for nearly 20 years and always been a little bit more out of the box thinking, coming up with ways other than just topical skincare and injury-based techniques to regenerate the skin. And something that we're going to talk to you about today is the Oralift. And the Oralift is really, I feel, one of the most cutting edge technologies out there today because it's utilizing anatomical changes that we see in the body. And these changes are subliminal and they make us feel older when we look in the mirror. So today I've got a PowerPoint that I put together and I'm going to switch over and we're going to go over frequently asked questions, the top 10 frequently asked questions that I get. And I'm going to break down the why for you. And then we're going to see, is Oralift for you? So let me share my screen with you. And we're going to go into this lovely keynote. So what is the Oralift? You've heard me talk about it before. It's an orthotic that goes in the mouth. And it was created by a dentist out of London. Now, he was specializing in smiles. And smiles, while we are doing it from an infant, maybe as early as 3 to 4 weeks, smiles develop utilizing specific muscles. And these muscles that are chosen to create a smile many times are dependent upon the bite and kind of the balance of the face. So the Oralift is like a reprogrammer of overused muscles. And Dr. Mahindra found this when he was working with a simple device called a pivot. And a pivot is used in dentistry to kind of be like a reset button. And he noticed that more changes occurred in the skin with this pivot or with this orthotic than just replacing the teeth. So the Oralift is a thermoplastic device that fits on the bottom teeth and it molds to the teeth in a very loose fashion. But what you're seeing, what really does the work are these pivots. See these little blocks. And so when these blocks are sitting in the mouth, it creates an awareness in the brain that tells the muscles that there's something there. And that's why it's so different using an Oralift versus just trying to hold open your mouth. So probably one of the best questions I get is, how does the Oralift work? In art and in aesthetics, there's what's called the golden proportions. And you're going to see this. A lot of artists use it. Magazines use it. In fact, now even in magazines, they have to say if a photo is modified. Golden proportions bring a ratio of pi that's aesthetically pleasing to the face. Because contrary to what a lot of people will tell you, perfection isn't necessarily what makes somebody beautiful. Balance is what makes somebody beautiful. So the Oralift works by establishing or reestablishing your golden proportions or your balance. And that's why it works so differently on so many people. As I mentioned before, it's been used from some of the greatest artists in the world. They had always kind of broken everything down to a ratio, and it's even seen in faces. Dentists use this proportion when defining what size a denture would be or what size teeth would be. And so Dr. Mahindra noticed that when he went by these proportions, he could get an amazing result. And this is with doing what's called a dental facelift. But look at this. He noticed that in the in-between stage, when using a device that he now created, the Oralift, he was able to also establish a golden proportion that was unique and fit the client. So you can look at these photos right here. The first one, look how her face is kind of compacted. But when she wore the Oralift, she reprogrammed the muscles to be in their natural golden proportion. And then you can see how similar this kind of diagram is considered to be what 99.9% of the people find attractive in faces. So that's how the Oralift works. It works uniquely with your body's ability to relax, realign, and reutilize muscle movement. The next frequently asked question I get is, how quickly does Oralift do this? You know, I do a lot of personal one-on-one fittings and coaching, and sometimes I see it in 10 minutes, and I'll be reluctant to say to the person that I'm fitting, do you see this? And then she'll say, well, I did, but I didn't know if I was seeing something. Muscles adapt so quickly. And so many times the adaptation can be seen in as little as 10 minutes. And that's why when you purchase the Oralift and you get the app, really take your photos the way that the app outlines. It's going to have like a little head and little red X's for the eyes and the mouth. And this is really to get the best before and afters for comparisons for you. Try to take it in consistent lighting, because the better pre-photos you have, the more you're going to be able to see changes. But let's take a look at this photo. This was after me wearing the Oralift for 2 months. The obvious signs are there is a lifted cheekbone. There's a reduction of lymph in the eyes. We see a reduction of tension in the mouth, and then the dark circles, because this is more of a circulation issue. Now, when I started wearing it, I was fit, like everybody, with the 5mm first. And when I put it in, it just kept flipping up, blop, blop, blop. And I'm in my mind going, I think it doesn't fit right. But that's because my muscles were so tight along the mandible that anything in there just kept bouncing up. And that's because I held a tremendous amount of tension around my mouth area. But let's take a look at what we don't always see. It's kind of the picture before the obvious. And this is seen in the black and white photos. And so the not so obvious signs are, look at the reduction of the lines on the right-hand side looking around my eyes. You can start to see those fine lines aren't as prominent. And look at the 11s, right? That really kind of disappeared. And if you look today, that still has maintained. I don't have Botox. I kind of sometimes wish I did right now, but I don't. And that is because the Oralift has made my muscle tension or my muscle usage more balanced. We'll go into that in a couple minutes. Again, there's less tension now in the jawline. Something that we're seeing, and probably the best way to kind of bring this to a comparison would be when you think about men going to the gym, and they might just have a super big body and little legs, or their quads are really developed, but their hamstrings aren't. When we develop certain muscles more, and we aren't paying attention to the counter muscle, there's more activity in that area. So many times, if the bite is very tight or people are clenching their teeth, we tend to overuse other muscles. And in my case, because I was very tight around my mouth, I started to engage more of my cheek muscles to lighten the load. The Oralift reprogrammed it. It just started to relax my masseter muscles, relax the zygomatic muscles, and now my face took on a more balanced look without doing anything such as Botox or artificial or fillers. This is one that we're seeing because I think the angel lift and the jaw sizer, they're really out there, and other mouth guards. So what makes Oralift different from these type of units that we're seeing just bombarded all the time on Facebook and Instagram? Well, the Oralift is a little bit more scientific, right? So the angel lift goes in, and it's a thin plastic device that just fits on the lip, and it's just pushing it out. And it's a very subtle stretching of that skin to kind of relax that muscle from working. And they ask you to wear it for 2 or 3 hours, I think, and that starts to relax just really the lip area. The jaw sizer works completely different than the opposite size stretch. You're biting on something, and this is building muscle up. So it's almost like pumping iron in a gym. So that's like a pumping. And a mouth guard is great too for grinding, but the difference is we're not reprogramming. All you're doing is you're still maintaining the action or the grinding and the tension, but we haven't reprogrammed the brain through biofeedback. So the Oralift really takes into consideration 3 major things that happen when we age: loss of bone, loss of volume, loss of fat. We lose this in the top portion, the maxillary region, and we lose this along the mandible. Dentists have known for years that maxillary region can rotate forward. And in this rotating forward, it flattens the face. Now, visually, what the consumer sees are heavy nasolabial folds. We don't even think that this region, this upper region, could rotate down, but it can. And this can cause a lot of other side effects, sometimes not sleeping as well, sometimes not being able to breathe as well. And we don't think about it because what we're looking to repair is the nasolabial. But by re-establishing kind of like a distance between the teeth, we can start to open up and breathe easier. We start to see a lifting underneath our eyes, and we start to feel and sleep better. And it does this, from what they think, through the element of stretch and reprogramming the neurotransmitters to the muscles. When we do something as simple as increasing the vertical distance between the top and bottom teeth, this requires a muscle adaptation process. So if you're sitting watching this right now, I want you to think about where your natural resting position is. For me, when I'm working on clients, for the longest time, I was a clincher. So when I'm leaning over people, I'm clinching, and I'm programming my muscles to hold that position. So my muscles were programmed to keep a very tight jaw and to clinch. And I also used to kind of think, oh, I might be creating muscle by clinching. Today, I can't even repeat that habit because I've literally gone in and reprogrammed my muscles to relax. But this requires a little bit more than just changing the muscle fibers. Now we've got increased circulation. We've got other muscles that are able to come in and play. And I guess when I say play, we have other muscles that are actually able to come in and assist in normal functions, such as swallowing, breathing, smiling, facial expressions. And when we release just the masseter muscle, which is one of the strongest muscles in the face, and start to let the other muscles in the body help out, the face shifts gradually to its golden proportions that we talked about earlier in the video. We're also generating stretch. And when we look at the orthotic, as we saw in the photo, I call these like the little yoga blocks. And they look so minimal, but 3 millimeters in the mouth really creates change. And this is something that the body perceives as something new. And now the body wants to adapt to it. And it's in this adaptation process that growth factors are released. And these growth factors are very similar to growth factors that are used in anti-aging. And it's an MGF, an IGF, and an MMP2. And the MMP2 triggers osteocytes. And so while it's not proven, it is thought and seen over and over again that after a while of time, you're actually restoring volume naturally along the jawline due to the MMP2s and also the hypertrophy or the plumping of the muscles. So that is how Oralift is different from so many other units. Also, Oralift, I kind of want to add, when you do the program properly, you are taught to create little check marks along the way as you start to want to close your mouth. And if you do this exercise, you'll start waking up in the middle of the night where you normally would be grinding, and you'll instantly relax your mouth and go right back to sleep. And that's done through the biofeedback that's kind of created in the fitting program. Can I use Botox and fillers? Yes, you can. And actually, I truly feel that it enhances the results because, again, we're restoring the natural proportion to the face. So when you do go in to get Botox and fillers, the professional really knows where to add and how much to add. We're not replacing or restoring as much now because now you're in a general proportion. So you will find you're probably using less filler and your Botox lasts longer. This is a great shot of a gal that had a prior facelift and she does fillers and Botox. And in the prior one, you can almost see how the skin is stretched up and she has more of a look of cosmetic enhancement. But the photo on the right is an excellent example how it just relaxed her look. And while she does still see her professional, her results started to become much more natural and complementary to her overall facial shape. Frequently asked question, when I use Oralift, I have quite a bit of tension in my chin area. How do I relax this? There are so many ways. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Anma. And so when you have the Oralift in, you have it sitting in there and your teeth are separated and we're opening our mouth. So that looks like this. And that does create tension down here, this opening. So what I like to do is if you don't have the Anma, you can just gently, with the weight of your fingers, kind of pull down. And you can pull to the side. Now the weight isn't a deep tissue massage. I like to push kind of my tensions in a 1, 2, 3 category. And that would be 1 being feather light. That's like this. 2 is I'm right above the muscle and I'm stretching that tissue. 3 would be deep. So what I'm doing when I have my mouth or the Oralift in, I'm relaxing and I'm really stretching. The other thing is just relaxing and keying into that muscle that's tight in the chin area and just starting to relax that. Really, when it's in your mouth, sitting and feeling all of that start to relax. And those are different ways. Lastly, if it starts to tremble in a painful way, that's overusage. And you want to take it out and take a note of the time and only go up to that time till your body adapts. And then another question I think that might be coming up is, what if I can't wear it longer than 15 minutes? But this is a great example of face changes when there's a lot of tension around the mouth area. And this was just in 6 weeks. This gal started to just kind of relax that mouth area. And you can start to see that even though a majority of her tension was in that mouth, because we released some of that area, the whole face just lifted up. It's gorgeous, isn't it? If I can't wear the Oralift more than 15 minutes, is it still working? Absolutely. Whether you can't wear it more than 3 minutes, it's still working, because we're creating a change in the neurotransmitters that are reporting back to the central nervous system. So don't get fixated on the hour. In the directions, it says we really want to work up to an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening every 3 days. But that's like kind of like the end result. That's not the journey. And one of the benefits of working with an advisor is that we will work with you and set a specialized timeline for you. A lot of times when a mouth is so tight, I say for the first 2 weeks, start out no more than 15 minutes. And if you still haven't relaxed in it, go back to 10. You will proceed with more results by working with the body's ability to relax. This isn't a kind of like a quick treatment. This isn't something that we're looking for results only when we hit that hour section. This is something that your body progresses slowly and continuously with. So even if you can only wear it for 5 minutes, if you've got a good quality 5 minutes, that is going to be better than an hour full of tension. Sorry, my dog's barking. Stella. This is a picture of a gal who had a really tight jaw, and she could only wear it for 15 minutes for probably 6 to 8 months. She's a practitioner in the Austin and the Houston area. She is on the list of professionals that can fit you with an Oralift. She's had tremendous results. And if you're struggling with, if you've purchased the DIY, you can always upgrade to have somebody help you. You can reach out directly to the practitioner and she'll have an additional fee, but she's there to work with you. And I see that more and more. I get so many emails of people that do purchase it, but later decide they want that additional coaching. And we'll go into that towards the end. If I have dentures, can I wear Oralift? Absolutely. Because sometimes when we change something like the teeth, we're changing, again, so much muscle usage in the face and in the neck, because everything works in unison with fascia. So this is a lovely picture of somebody and just the difference in her smile by releasing the muscle tension. And this is another practitioner in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area. So if you are in that area and you want to do the Oralift and you want to work with somebody, she's incredibly knowledgeable and someone to reach out to, and she can be found on the list of practitioners. But this redistribution of muscle usage was in as little as 6 weeks. I am missing teeth. Can I still wear the Oralift? Yes. So I have this little this little mouth here, right? You can kind of see this, and I'm going to take out some of the teeth because the most common teeth that are missing are typically the 2 back teeth. Now, when you go in to fit the Oralift, it fits behind these front teeth and on top of the side teeth. And when you fit it, you'll simply mold the thermoplastic down where those missing teeth are. How many missing teeth? I think if you're missing just the back, you could still fit the Oralift on, because remember, the Oralift is not something that fits like an Invisalign. It doesn't move the teeth. It's serving as an obstacle in the mouth. So what we're doing is we have an obstacle to create an awareness in the central nervous system that the body has to adapt around something. So you're not looking for a tight, snug fit. One of the questions some people say is it's lifting up all the time. That's okay. The muscles will soon accept this intruder as something, and your face will relax to accommodate it. So all of if your muscles are tight and it pops up, you need the Oralift. That's why you're doing it. Is there an age limit to wearing the Oralift? No. This is someone in my clients that I fit, and she's in her mid-70s. And you can see that she's done no filler, no Botox. She will eventually, but she was only wearing the Oralift 2 times a week for 15 minutes only. And this is because she was going through, she had a lot of other things she was taking care of. But when she chose her 15 minutes, she chose them as a quality 15 minutes with her and the Oralift and a way to relax. Frequently asked questions that you might have more is like, where can I get more information? The website Beauty by Jane Mann is a little bit about my journey, some of my clients I've worked with. You can purchase the advisory position through there, and that is an appointment that you make with me. And I fit you online, and we meet 2 to 3 times. There is, if you do that, there's a private coaching group that I have, and you can always ask questions. And even on this Sunday in the private coaching group, we're going to be doing the Oralift together. Because I think when you get this, you wonder, am I doing this correctly? And to remove the doubt and have you kind of settle in that, yes, you are doing it correctly, and here's some other ways to do it. In the group, we'll later be going into stretches that you can do and ways that you can enhance your Oralift journey. Oralift.com is a great place to get other additional information and purchase the Oralift. A lot of people are just DIYers. You just can do this. You know you can do it. You can fit the unit. There's no question. And you can purchase the Oralift unit. And if you use in the coupons, buy Jane Mann 10, you get 10% off. So instead of the unit being $295, you get it for around $265, and they mail it to you. At that point, if you get it and all of a sudden you're like, I'm not so sure about this, you can upgrade to an advisory position. And you can do that on my website. It would be an upgrade to an advisory position. If you do the DIY and you're totally fine, but you decide you want a sense of community, you can upgrade to the group as well. ByJaneMann.com is just my website, and you can find the store and the products I believe in, the Oralift, and a lot of things that I share on my YouTube videos. So I am going to kind of come back to answer questions. But the problem is, because my link wouldn't go over, I can't see questions right now on YouTube. So I'm going to pull up my laptop and see if I can see any on here. See if anybody's got anything. I don't see any questions at this time. Hopefully, I've answered your questions. This is recorded and it's always available. You're always able to reach out to me at any time and ask any questions. Oralift is an amazing tool that is used for, and they know how to run, is used to restore the natural plumping, the balance, the kind of subliminal youth factors. I know in my journey, I felt like I was looking older, but I couldn't pinpoint where. And the moment I started using the Oralift, because it restored my natural balance, I didn't focus so much on the wrinkles. I didn't focus so much on the loss of volume because I had a balance. And it really made me okay with aging. Does that mean I won't get filler and Botox in the future? If I feel like I need it, I'll get it. But right now, I'm pretty pleased. So thank you for tuning in. Put your comments and your questions. I will get back to them. I am waiting. I did get an email or a question. Somebody asked if I knew anyone in the UK or in Europe that fit the Oralift. I do, Donna Glazier, but I'm going to get her clinic information for you. And she is an excellent practitioner that can really assist you along your Oralift journey. All right, so I won't be live next Saturday, I think but I will be posting a video on Wednesday, so look for that. And any questions, please reach out to me. If you like this or you know a friend that may like it, please forward it to them, because I think that anytime we can share good information, it helps everybody feel better about themselves and about how they're aging. Thanks a lot and have a great week, rest of your week.